Blessed be, friends. I wanted to speak with you this evening. The sun has only just set. About the blood moon we're all experiencing wherever we are in the world. The reason I wanted to talk to you about this is because it opens a gateway. All liminal times do, but an eclipse is a particularly special liminal time because it happens in the celestial realm. Night becomes day, the white moon becomes the red of the sun. And I feel that this particular moon is about balancing the moment between the death of the self, the old self, and the birth of the new self. Eclipses are portals, are gateways, are thresholds. And at each of these times it's important to take a moment and reflect. Full moons are often about celebrating and dance and ecstasy, and this full moon has that aspect. However, it's tempered by the eclipse, and it's tempered by the sense of the red of the blood, the red of ancestry, the red thread that binds us to our bodies. And I feel that it's a particularly powerful time to work with aspects of our ancestry that we wish to let go of, and aspects of our ancestry that we wish to move forward with. There's a lot of information out there. There's an enormous amount of people talking about quite complex subjects, but sometimes I feel that we simply need to go back to the simple things and to remember our ancestors and to imagine what a blood moon would have been to them. In this hemisphere, the southern hemisphere, we're approaching Samhain. And as such, the kind of altar that I've built for this evening has a kind of acknowledgement of passing, of death. And of course, if any of you are watching in the northern hemisphere, you're entering a very different time, a time of expansion and growth of the maiden and joy, the green world. And wherever you are on the planet, I know that somehow at these moments we're all one. You can't separate the ancestral line of Samhain from the future line brought about by Beltane. Beltane is fertility and creating the future and celebrating the moment and the warmth. And Samhain is about consulting history, your own personal history or the history of your people, and bringing both of these aspects into the present is very valuable, I feel. So I wanted to acknowledge that aspect too. So I have the cauldron here to represent the belly, the womb, the fertile place, and it's lit with fire. And to me, in this light, it looks very red. I wanted also to do a reading for you and for myself at this time. And I wanted to do it with the oracle that seemed most appropriate for this blood moon. And so I chose the oracle of Les Vampires, or the Les Vampires. To me, these creatures are very much about acknowledging the aspects of ourselves that are hungry and brutal, perhaps sophisticated, but dark. And so it seems appropriate at this time when the moon is turning to red that we consult with them. It's very safe to do so. They're your advocate, And when we walk through darkness and dark times, as we're going to be in this hemisphere, and as all of us do at times in our lives, it's very important, I feel, to consult with beings who know the territory. So let's talk to them, and let's see what we all need to know more about. You may wish to ask a question at this time. And let's see how the cards and the words and the time, this magical liminal time, threshold time, all come together. You may wish to ask your question now. One card, past. One card, the present. One card for the future. So let's see. And let's get a little closer to them. First card for the past, we have the card of thirst. So this is a really interesting card for any of you who may have experienced any kind of compulsions or imbalances, disturbances, cravings, obsessions. And this says to me that overwhelmingly the energy of the past, of our culture, has been to have this sort of compulsive energy, to always be rushing and moving forward, to be hungry, to desire, and to feel a sense of incompleteness unless that hunger is satisfied. But the dilemma with this kind of thirst is that it is never satisfied. So for any of you who may be healing from addictive relationships, substances, people, patterns within your life, know that it's firmly in the past. It doesn't mean that those thirsts and cravings will ever completely leave, but it does mean that it is no longer what you will move forward with. They will fade, and you will remember them, and you will respect their power, and so you will live a very different kind of life from this time forth. Into the present, we have a card called Redemption. Just show it to you. The card of Redemption is about right now. Perhaps you feel you need to make amends. Perhaps born out of the addictions or the compulsions of the past. We all have behaved in ways that have been unkind, and we all have behaved in ways that have not been whole and true. We are not just ourselves, we are our tribes and communities. And this may indicate that you wish to not just apologize, but to acknowledge your own mistakes and to forgive yourself. And when we do this, sometimes we want to balance out any act from the past with an act in the present. So prayer, doing some good deeds, doing right by yourself. These are all of the moment, and this blood moon for you is absolutely about forgiving yourself for those shortcomings and weaknesses that is the human past. You may wish to do some kind of penance, and in doing so, please don't hurt yourself, don't try and be cruel to yourself. That can't make amends. Making amends is about bringing about balance. Understand the reasons for what you may feel you did not do your best at. Say sorry. And if this is about an other needing to be forgiven by you, perhaps it is time for you to consider forgiveness. For it is really so strong. It will give you so much energy to let go of the burden that is the carrying of the grudge. The third card, the card moving forward, is a card called Hunter. And this card is about a being who becomes extremely self-sufficient, about people who become more self-sufficient, about becoming your own provider, about becoming your own seeker. Seeking advice too when it is right, but following it when it is in your own best interest and in the best interests of your tribe. This is the card of someone who is canny, wise, smart. It is a card of a person, of a culture that has awoken, that has acknowledged its mistakes from its compulsions of the past, that has said sorry for the imbalances. And this card going forward means that we become the ones who trace the paths of the future. It also means that if you have a dream or a desire, it's time to begin to track it. And by that I mean to almost get it sent, to follow that path, and to tune in very, very carefully and precisely, to hone your skills and to become the hunter. It means you will provide for yourself, and it means that rather than seeking and feeling hungry as you have done in the past and being controlled by that hunger and compulsions and obsessions and addictions, you will become the person who finds out what is good for you, what is whole for you, and what works for you. When looking overall at this spread, I would truly encourage all of you to start forging your own destiny. That is the message of this blood moon. But for this evening, as the moon heightens, and as she who is silver turns to fire and turns to the blood that beats within us all, let go of burdens, make amends in the present, and then begin to hunt the future that you are creating. Blessed be to you all, my friends. Blessings of the blood moon. I'll see you again very soon.